What's going on, guys? So today on this SHOKY review, we're going to be taking a look at something definitely not new, because it's been around for a little while, but new to me, and that is the Flame Toys FURRAI model, of course, Transformers, Optimus Prime G1 version model kit. And I did pick this up, I don't even remember. It was either early this year or tail end of last year, I don't remember. I know it's been in the backlog for a bit, and given how I've built at least two other, well, just regular Optimus Primes, I figured I'd give this one a chance. Seen other people build it, and seen other people review it, but I really wanted to build something, and it finally came down to it. Now, I didn't do an unboxing, I didn't do a build log, I did a pretty quick build on this. I also filmed a preview for the members to talk about thoughts ahead of time, and also admit a secret about the build that you will only know if you watch that segment. So, here we go. Flame Toys, really nice artwork right up the front. I like the steam kind of coming off of Optimus here. It's pretty cool. We got some very Cybertronian stuff happening in the background. The actual figure, so to speak, looks really good. Of course, directly based off of the actual thing, though severely weathered and drawn very nicely. One thing they are really good about is their artwork. You know, Transformers, authentic Transformers product. So people call Flame Toys a third-party product. It's like more like Hasbro adjacent. You know, it's like they're making real licensed Transformers product. They just don't transform, so it doesn't really push into third party for me personally. You know, I know people like to argue what third party means, but what I'm getting at is they're basically Hasbro adjacent at this point, so it is what it is. So if you come around to the sides, you know, nothing on the bottom. Come over here, FURRAI model, it's a G1 version. Come around back there, same thing on that side. Come around here, just an extension of the artwork. And if you come to the bottom, that's where they put everything normally goes on the back of a box. It's really kind of funny how they do that. So you got articulation, good articulation with over 40 movable joints. Any pose can be set easily. Well, that's certainly an opinion. And, you know, a whole bunch of different things there. You got the contents of the box, all the different runners, including clear stuff. And you got clear parts are used for the eyes, windows, and the axe. True. With different injection color of runner parts and simple assembly design is suitable model kit for beginners. I will actually agree with that for once. Good job, Flame Toys. You got detail. Design reveals a modernized and shape optimized. There we go. Optimus Prime G1 version. And that's true. You know, it's definitely not straight off the page or straight off the TV screen, but pretty cool nonetheless. Close-up image here, all your warnings and all that BS. You know, hey, look, you can call D4 Toys. That's the official distributor, technically speaking, of Flame Toys products. It is an overseas company, but, you know, it is what it is. Now, you can get this through anybody who sells Bluefin, essentially. I don't even know where I picked this one up, if I'm honest with you. I may have ordered it from BBTS or Gundam Planet. I may have been on an In the Kitchen video at some point, but I completely forgot. Oh, by the way, I forgot little guy with a toilet right there. You got ABS, PE, PS, and you got ages 15 and up. Hey, I'm right in the middle of that. So, still end up with a brand new Optimus Prime that's upside down on a SHOKY review. Feels good to set that up properly. All right, let's take a look at it. All right, guys. You know what time it is. Turntable time. Oh, where did I put the button? There it is. Alright. So, as it goes with this new version of an Optimus Prime, I really did enjoy it. Now, going into it, of course, no concept of what to expect. Just that something would be broadly similar to at least one of the other Primes that I'd done. And, realistically, it kind of houses a little bit of both. So in some ways it has a little bit of engineering from the original Attack Mode Prime. In other ways it's borrowing more from the Idw Prime. But overall, it was a really enjoyable build. You know, I did have to remember that since I was painting this thing, and it is completely painted, every square inch that you can see is painted. And that's the key word. every square inch you can see. I did have to remember to clearance things for paint. Hopefully, given this review, and we'll have to go through articulation and stuff, we'll have to make sure that that's good. I did a couple things on this that I'd never tried before, and worked out pretty well. The color separation actually worked out very nicely, and then unlike other versions of the Flame Toys kits, it wasn't heavily reliant on stickers to make the difference. In fact, it only comes with, I think, 4 stickers at all, and that's 2 Autobot logos and 4 little top lights that I didn't even use. Obviously, I didn't use all the Autobot logos because he doesn't need 2, he only needs the 1. And even the color separation, as I'll show off with the yellow inset, is like straight up out of a Gundam type kit, So it seems like Flame Toys is borrowing a little bit from Bandai in their designing of kits now, and it really, truly paid off in this new version of Prime. So, let's take a closer look at the boy. So first up, before we look at the actual Prime himself, you can see him there in the reflection, see all the accessories he comes with. Now, other than just a buttload of hands, including 2 kind of hands, like I'm gonna grab you hands, 2 very excited jazz hands, 2 very accusatory or I've got an idea hands, 2 gun holding hands, either left or right, but frankly Prime is essentially right-handed, and then the actual figure itself, as we saw in the turntable time, does have fisted hands. And then of course after that we do have the axe. So let's show off at least the 2 cool swappable hands with the gun holding hand and the axe in action. So of course, like with any other model or even figure, come over here and just pull on the hand. It is just a ball joint, though I will warn you, this little cuff area right in here does have a tendency to come out because it's just a double ball joint. So it's got a ball joint on the inside pointing out, and then it in of itself is pointing this way. So with the left hand, we'll go with the Energon Axe, which is just 2 pieces slapped together. Yeah, nothing too crazy. And actually, this was the first hand, quote unquote, I actually put on him, because I had not done any of the hands yet, but I'd completed his arms at very least. So I put that on there, which is pretty cool. And then for the other side, see, that's what I was talking about right there. So here's the inherent problem with this design. I'm glad it happened on camera. And if you see any red paint flicking off, that's actually coming off the polycap. So if you want to remove the hand from this point, you end up pulling the polycap itself out of the wrist joint. So glad this happened on camera and I wasn't too careful. By the way, all of the hands are painted. I'll talk about what paints I used at the end, or they will be listed down below for everybody who is going to be asking the inherent question of what paints did you use. All right, and as you can see here, this isn't 100% painted. It's just around the outside edge that was visible, as I previously stated. So you can see inside there, the little ball joint. And I tuck that in there. And then real quick, before I insert it, we'll look at his gun, which is super G1-esque, as it should be. Just painted matte black, rubbed down with some gunmetal, and then a little bit of soot up near the tip of the barrel. It could, in theory, just insert into the hand. You know, with the way that works, it looks like it would just slide in. However, you could always just do the right thing and unplug the thumb and front of the fingers and assemble it that way, especially once it's painted. I didn't do any kind of major weathering on him. I really kind of wanted him to stay pretty well clean. And you plug that in there, and good to go for, well, basically what are all of his accessories. Yeah, and if you want to feel like switching hands and doing all that mess, you certainly can. Speaking of which, I'm going to switch his hands back and then talk about the rest of the figure. All right, now that he's got the I'm going to get you fingers, as it would be, I'm going to push this down just a little bit, scooch him back probably, and just zoom in on that head sculpt. And I forgot, I can do this. I don't have to. Come on, zoom in, buddy. There we go. I keep forgetting I don't have to do this in post. I can do it right now. So there is his lovely G1 head sculpt. It's actually very, very nice. There we go. Target that. Make it look good. And of course, it's painted. And even the eyes are painted with a little bit of light blue. I'll give you the actual color later, as I said. Face painted silver. I guess I should have done a little darker gray near the eyeballs, but it is what it is. You even get the crest there. I didn't do that best job cleaning that up, so when I pushed it in there, it got a little messy, but it's still good. You got his quintessential ears on there, and it is just mounted on a ball joint, giving him a great, ridiculous range of motion. And then the neck itself is on top of a ball joint as well, giving the neck a heck of a thing, except that's the problem, is that the whole neck will rotate. There's not enough tension there with the head itself to get it to turn back, so you're gonna have to finagle it a little bit. And also with the way that the neck assembles, you can see this splitting open just a little bit from that in and of itself. That's kind of annoying. And then as we come down, I'll put his arms down here. You know, the torso looks fantastic. So one of the things that I did for the first time ever was, come on, just, there we go. I did a fade job here on his windshields, on his chest. Never done anything like that before. Really simple how I managed it. Just using a simple curved cutout mask, and held it at a distance and sprayed across it a couple times to get that fade job. I think it looks fantastic for, you know, rattle cans. And you guys know, at least, while I have an airbrush, I don't use it as of yet. I just use my rattle cans. And then a tiny little gold paint there on the top lights. That's where you could use the kind of copperish stickers if you are so inclined. And then, yes, of course, because he's a Prime, you have to have the ability to open his chest to reveal the innards. Gotta catch the light just right here. That's why I should have my fifth light on, but it is not working. So little details here with some gold, some silver, and a little bit of copper. And then he does have a matrix of leadership up under here. You just gotta get your thumb sort of in there. I'll tilt it back a little. And that was actually a blue translucent piece. And I thought about putting a reflective piece behind it, just to try to capture any light, and it really didn't make a difference. So I actually painted it with some metallic blue, actually some mica blue, just to try to give it some sparkle, but it's just so dark in there that it's just not a good way to capture the light. So, and also this particular piece, I'll just warn you now, huge pain in the ass to get to fit properly. And then once I did, I never wanted to do it again. I would also be very wary about these super tiny hinges. Just be careful to not tweak anything if you can help it. I'm going to back out just a little bit. And you come down to the torso where you've got silver coming across, which, you know, if you're more of a purist, you could make it white if you want to. His grill is actually silver with some light gunmetal actually on the grill vents itself. And then, let's see, let me look at the back. We're going to see where he would have his jetpack. That's a nice little simple backpack. I appreciate that. And there's his little butt diaper, blue bit and red all around here. Come down to the front skirt here. Yellow pieces that, you know, this one actually plugs in, and then these here actually poke through, very Gundam-like. And I really appreciate it. Those are painted, even though they didn't have to be. Same thing over here on the wrist. I thought those were going to be little inset cuts like they were on previous ones, or embossed, it would be the word I'm looking for. But not. Those are holes, and the yellow pieces came through. Fantastic. So let's talk about the arms and articulation up here in the chest. So you can rotate it up. In theory, there it goes. It's a super, super tight joint after being painted. So you can come up to about there, and then utilizing the rest of the shoulder joint, you can get it up. Just watch out for the smokestack, obviously. And then be very, very careful with lowering that down. You do get a forward and back butterfly movement. You can see that actually brushed up against something. I took some black paint with it, so that sucks. Just, once again, gotta be careful. You do get rotation, which was very much hindered by the construction initially. So the hole that shoulder joint has to pass through was super tight. and it didn't want to actually go all the way. There's probably just a little bit of stress damage there after the fact. A big old Autobot symbol as you go. And then you got the exhaust pipe here, which is actually on a small ball joint. You can rotate it around, but because it's painted, I'm not going to jack with it. I did also drill it out with just a small drill bit and a pin vise, and added just a little bit of soot there as it goes. The range of motion is fine. If you don't have it painted, it'll probably move super freely. I also didn't really talk about the torso articulation. I'll do it here in a second. But very nice bicep rotation. A double jointed elbow, which when you're building it doesn't make a whole lot of sense at first, and then you assemble it, you're like, oh, that's very nice. And a big step away from how they did the original version of the Prime. And of course we know how the hands work. We've already seen that. So back to the torso, where I forgot. So they always include a lot of torso movement. So you do have a nice ab crunch there, along with the regular ab crunch, which is on a slider up and down like you do. You can teeter-totter side to side. Just be wary, because you're definitely going to be hitting those side skirts, which is what was just happening. And then you can rotate, but once again, just watch out as you do. And then actually the grill itself is on a small ball joint, so you can actually push that up and down or in and out a little bit. Right now it's just set for more of a forward lean, so they can get up under there, which has definitely been a thing they have done on virtually all of their kits. You know, some type of torso thing there. Alright, so back to the front skirts here. They are on ball joints here. A little difficult to maneuver, but they do function. And then the side skirts, a little harder to get at, but they're less involved to a degree. I can't get to it. Like, it's just right there. I can't turn it. And his arms are tight. The other thing is, everything is very tight on clearance with this guy. So you gotta be kind of careful. I've already scratched him right there. So either way, the side skirts peg in right back here on the butt skirt and flip up. Let's see if we can get this torso to sit down a little bit. Just calm down, Prime. Alright, now he does have the drop down hips that we're oh so familiar with. You know, functions from right inside there, so you can get it very far forward. If you're going to do something ridiculous, you can, of course, keep it to the back like you're going to do. It does have thigh rotation. You know, you can go out. I'm being very careful because I can't get those side skirts to get out of the way. He can do a very effective Jean-Claude. I checked it out while he was still somewhat bare plastic. But I'm not keen on rubbing any paint off as it goes. By the way, nice part separation here. I'm getting silver paint on my thumb, which is now polluting my blue paint. Something you got to be wary of. I'm going to zoom back out a little bit here. Nice molding all along here on the thighs. One thing that sucks on this thigh, I got a scratch across the inside while I was cleaning up nubs. And then this thigh, you can see here the paint kind of sucks as the light catches it. That's because I dropped it on the ground after painting it. Like immediately after painting it, dropped it on the ground. It just popped off of the clippy that was holding it in place. By the way, universal joint on the hips, very similar to all of the hips they ever do. So just get used to that. Hopefully those polycaps hold up over time. Double jointed knee, which is interesting. So you get the first joint here, and the second joint inside the knee, which doesn't look like I clearanced it quite enough. Just scraping a little. So, I mean, just get away with just using the top knee for all that matters. So, all of that done in silver. Then, of course, blue down here. You can see that it is definitely rubbing off on my fingers, at least surface level, and polluting things. So I got to be careful here. Should have worn gloves to film this. And then different color silver here, which is technically a gunmetal for the little tank. Same thing on the vents. Nice detail around the legs. Come down to the fetums. You know, pretty basic foot job here. Just on a center ball joint here, and then a back and forth hidden up inside the ankle, and then you even get some toe tilt there and some spin on it to really get a little bit more posability out of the guy. And yeah, it's actually very nice. Now, once again, I'm not messing with it too much. I apologize for anybody who really wants to see it go to town, but I want my paint job to last a little bit better. It came out very nice, and I don't want it to be 100% ruined. And yeah, the reason I put those fingers on there, I forgot to do this. Hold on. This is something they actually show in the thing. So if you want to, you can kind of do the opening of the chest. Just actually pretty freaking cool. That utilizing at least most of this, we can do that. He's like, open up his aid. Bearing his soul. Almost literally. So that's cool. Let's close it back up. Alright, Prime, get yourself together. Actually, I'm going to give him back his gun just for comparisons. Because everybody else that we're going to compare him to has a gun in their hand. So it's only fair. So you can see all the different designs. Alright, just get yourself organized here, Prime. Okay, so for regular Prime, there. And then we'll bring in the last one I did, which was Idw Prime. And I forgot that basically, like this one, the red, I had very much run out of paint on. So, and then the blue itself was not painted at all. So it's kind of funny that I brought that out for this, and then I wasn't very happy with that silver that I've got on there. So that one's not done in silver leaf. That was done in, I think, bare aluminum, if I remember correctly, and some different gunmetals. I gotta spread this out properly. Sometimes framing is a pain in the ass. And then going all the way back to the first one, and definitely the worst one, the original attack mode Prime, which is still absolutely fraught with the polycap problems. And the fact that they, such as this, and this is the thing, guys. So this was a really poor design choice, you know, if I haven't covered it before. And I've dealt with it before by usually taking it apart and flipping it over so that the split is down towards that side. It's nothing you can just get around, and there's no way to replace that without having access to him. And yes, he's super dusty. He was at a spot on the shelf that could easily get access to dust. Both legs do actively fall off. It's the same for all three of my attack mode Primes, although the Ultra Magnus, which was the final one that I put together, is the least fall aparty version. So it's interesting that the attack mode, at least looking at it, you know, does capture a bit of the IDW design, some G1 design, and then just whatever weird Japanese design they came up with, especially for that gun of his. You know, that's definitely an in-betweener. But as it goes, like, I really enjoyed the IDW before, but so far, this one, at this point, is my favorite. That's not the light. That's the one. Who knew that was the light that was giving me problems? I really wanted to catch that reflection. Also, the fact that this one doesn't have windshield wipers is an interesting idea. So both of the previous ones have windshield wipers. And one thing I did do, I forgot to mention it, is I did add, well, now that I killed the light, it doesn't help. It actually helps a little. I did add the dots to his eyes, because even with them being painted, they still sort of look dead in the back. So let's get that gun up a little bit, bend the knee ever so slightly. Now I could see these legs potentially going the same route as the attack modes, but not nearly as bad. I don't think they're capable of it with the way that is. But you can get a good pose. The one thing is you got to get that torso to sit down low enough, or else he does look a little funky. And then, just for other comparison to different Flame Toys kits, since I just busted them all out for this review, There he is next to the Bumblebee, which doesn't scale to anything in particular. It's just a cool kit. Plus, that's the one I modified by removing the shoulder wheels. Which, another interesting fact, this is one of the only versions of any of these characters so far that's an Autobot that doesn't have any wheels on them whatsoever. Which is interesting to me. And then bring in the Devastator, which is the only other like ridiculous paint job that I've done to date. I still want to do another Devastator, but in G2 yellow colors, which is, you know, my plan for the future. So I'm definitely going to pull that off at some point. But right now he's out of stock everywhere. Also, this is a very hefty kit. People complain about the price. That thing is definitely heavy. This one, not heavy and not expensive. It shouldn't be, but for some of the countries in the world, I assumed it would be. But as it goes, really good kit. I enjoyed it. I had more fun throwing it together. Of course, you know, the weird little issues that I had, such as dropping the thigh, the neck splitting, stuff like that. The tightness in the arms, that is a little bit much. You know, that kind of stuff, very annoying. But, you know, that might be a mileage may vary situation, or it might be make sure you clearance everything properly, kids. Like the knees, I thought I had it properly clearanced. Not so much. I can always take it apart and clearance it a little bit more before any more damage is accumulated. But for the most part, it is a very fun build. I'm glad I knocked it out in like a day or so, a day and a half, technically speaking, if you want to add up all the hours. But in comparison to the IDW, this one was easy. In comparison to the attack mode, it doesn't fall apart. So they're definitely getting better. Now I still have Megatron to do, so I'm looking forward to doing that in the future. So the IDW Megs will be fun. But guys, let me know what you think down below. And of course, if you want to see any of the stuff behind the scenes, or any other videos like out the boxes, or in fact a preview for things like this, you can check out the channel memberships. It will help support this channel so that I can keep on moving forward where the views necessarily are down and nobody's really watching. And also, if you are not new here but you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, please. The actual subscription numbers is pretty abysmal. Most of my views are coming from new people, not people who've been here for a long time. So if you are new, please hit the subscribe button. If you've been here but you're not subscribed, please hit that button. I would love to hit 10,000. That's my ultimate goal for this channel, realistically, is to hit 10,000, and we're still a good ways away from that. But yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. I don't know what I'm going to build next. There's still so much stuff in the backlog. And I think I'm going to start out 2022 getting back to building for real. Probably knock out a couple things, just maybe 1 or 2 things max during the end of December. And start out the new year with a new lease on building. I'll see you guys next time. Remember, as always, keep on building.